like to be able to receive from rewards. And one measurement that I would do is I would get to know my people, my team. I would have them fill out an employee profile. And I would have them actually go through the process to tell me what motivated them. And one of the challenges that I had is one particular employee, when I asked on an outline profile sheet what motivated her, she wrote nothing. And I think about that even in today's time. And when I had that confrontation with, or that coaching session, at that period of time, there was no family, there was no money, there was no time off, there was no incentive that was going to motivate this employee. And we can see that in today's time as well, as that translates. And one thing that I knew is that I wanted to be able to make sure that I understood that any type of reward system that I had set up in place did not demotivate any of the employees by the rewards that were set up. The thing on it is that people want to make sure that their job consists of doing meaningful work. You just don't want to have people coming in and performing their job function, but really never truly understanding what goes behind their work and how that overall affects the corporation. And people must believe in you. And so we think about that, whether we use it in our Toastmasters club, whether we use that out in our family or out in the corporate world. But if people don't truly understand what or where you're coming from, it's going to be hard for them to be able to relate, to believe in you for whatever you're communicating to them. Another aspect on it is that you want to make sure that you act like a leader. You know, we look at today's time and how many individuals are in leadership capacities. And I look back to my many years in the corporate world, and being a disorganized leader can not always give the instructions that you may need to be able to communicate out into your workforce team. And I had several various situations where I would be overwhelmed with the paper load, and when an employee would come in and ask me about a particular situation or need some direction or guidance on, because that paperwork that I allowed, or that reporting process that I allowed to overwhelm me, my communication wasn't as clear as it needed to be, and that always came back to hurt our team overall. We also take a look at what motivates us. As I mentioned in the previous slide, is I had an employee that told me there was nothing that was going to motivate her. So for money, we live in a time right now where corporations, they don't have the incentive, they don't maybe have the merit increases. They're asking you to pay more now for health care, for whatever the case of it is. But there's a lot of motivators that we can even do within our club. Giving immediate praise. Patting somebody on the back and saying, great job, I really appreciated you staying extra, or coming in and filling in as needed. Public recognition, and I relate that to our club. Sharon does an excellent job of making sure that any of our individuals who come on board of our club, there's a newspaper ad. You even take a look at, if you work for a corporation right now, are you incorporating any type of newsletter or an email blast, taking time to recognize that individual in the newsletter? A lot of times employees want to have more responsibility. Okay, you say, how can that be? And that again is getting to know your people, what motivates them, sitting down with them weekly or monthly, and getting a better understanding. If they are looking to be able to advance within the corporation, they are going to want to take on more responsibility. Because I translate that into, in my workforce area on it is that I took on additional responsibility. I always strive to work on my personal development. Therefore, it allowed me to be able to be in a different classification than my peers. I was one of 55 in 1,500 branch locations. And so when you relate that to, is that I had the desire to motivate myself each and every day. And so the corporation recognized individuals like myself, and they gave me the opportunity and created a position, and I was promoted. And we also want to take a look at recognizing immediately. How many times, and we can relate this to our family as well, how many times has our spouse or a family member just did something without us even asking? And that's the best opportunity to be able to recognize immediately. When you are taking the time to sit down with your team, is to be specific. What is it that you're looking actually to be able to accomplish? And the number one importance on it is that if you take the time to recognize immediately, and especially, I use this in our club, is that we always take the time to say at the end of each meeting how important it was for all of us to step up and take in additional roles and responsibilities. And we can translate that into, throughout our day. And we're always specific on that. One of the things on it is that when I did some research about motivating people, I took a look at what was going to match the reward to the achievement. And the thing on it is that the reward has to be what is going to be for the employee. And that was something that our district governor talked about. What is it that's going to be able for us to attract new members to our club? What's in it for them? Reward on it is that they're going to be able to be a better communicator and a better leader. And we always want to make sure that we take the time to reward the desired behavior. And behavior is in my opinion, on it is it's a consistent act to perform, to excel. That's why you'll see some leaders performing in some instances more than others. I came from the financial industry, and so I'll use Jamie Dimon as an example, who is CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Why is he able to excel amongst all of his other peers? Because he's always had the desire to perform, and he understands about being able to communicate that to his team. The other thing on it is that motivating people in your workforce with undesirable behavior, because that can be the bad apple in the office that can translate. In today's time, everyone is so busy doing so many various things. But if you allow that conduct or that behavior to be consistent, it can overall affect the complete operation, along with even implementing that in our club. And that's why we have the opportunity to be able to onboard or induct a new member into our club, because we really want to make sure that we have the right people on our team. And then also taking time to eliminate demotivators. How many of us, and probably think back to the times where we were reprimanded in front of peers or maybe even in front of a client. I go out in the service industry, and there's so many times that I see these leaders just going off on one of their employees. I don't want to hear that. And we shouldn't have to be able to hear. And that should be done in private. Now the thing on it is that when I Googled, FEMA came up about motivating people. And on FEMA's website, what they do is they tell people to be prepared, to motivate them to take action. And I'll translate this into this past Monday. We had, my understanding is, a tornado was touched down. But how many of us, if we short period of time, are motivated enough to prepare ourselves? If an emergency event was to happen, do we have our flashlights? Are we looking out for our neighbors? that also can be translated into how we conduct ourselves with our personal lives, professionally. One of my goals is that I wanted to always run and manage and start my own company. And so I was motivated, I was focused, I was dedicated. And I've taken the time, and over these last several years, has it been challenging? Each and every day is challenging to get up and to make sales phone calls and to be able to get that corporation or that company to want to do business with me. And so I'm out there consistently motivating myself to go out there and do that. And so we look at it, and if this balloon was to be filled with helium, you are the helium in this balloon. I, as the leader, am the balloon. And you think that helium is the gas that causes balloons to fly up in the air. If you're the balloon as the leader and your people are the helium, comprised of performance, training, innovation, desire, having fun, getting their feelings taken care of, and they have the opportunity with the freedom, the more helium that you can fill in your balloon, the higher that you and your organization or our club can be. I want to thank you each and every one of you for the opportunity, and I look forward to my next successful series. Thank you.
Well, we are at the good point of asking for the timer's report, please.
Sharon Maloney was 6 minutes, 8 seconds. She did not make the first 10-minute cut. Carol Durling was at 8:03. She just sweeped over the 8-minute cut.
All right.
And Sherry Maddox made 12:17 right in the middle of her speech time.
Within time. Wonderful. Are we voting for best speaker? I should have asked this at the beginning.
If it was free speakers, I think you can qualify too.
Okay. So for the best speaker, we have Sherry and Carol. Carol and Sherry. Speaker number 2 and speaker number 3. Eligible. Yes.
Do we want to do the evaluations, because Rick needs to leave,
Yes.
and then,
With
I'll only
that,
be gone for a couple of minutes. It shouldn't be more than 15.
and then you can maybe,
Unless somebody decides to. I have to go like about 9.
evaluation for speaker number 1 is Sherry.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, just checking. I'm writing it down. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Then he's going to leave.
Okay, I will take over for timer. With that, I'd like to introduce the evaluator for Sharon Maloney, Sherry Maddox.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, good morning. Sharon, wow. What a great opportunity for us to be able to get the insight from you with the conclusion. The conclusion part of the speech is just as important as the opening speech. One of the questions is how effective was the speaker's introduction in helping the audience understand the purpose? Well, the purpose is to gain a better understanding in concluding your speech. Were you prepared? Of course you were prepared. You relied on your notes, of course, as needed to be. One of the things that I feel that if you could have emphasized more would be a vocal variety, to have changed up your voice so that you could have made a statement to have gauged the audience on that. I liked how you indicated about the importance of strong, forceful conclusions. And so I will always remember that, and again with the handouts, 30 to 60 seconds. One thing I feel that we're challenged with as speakers is that we could have a remote. Sometimes we're concentrating on hitting the button, so I know that that can be a deterrent, especially if you're looking on the slides or on your notes as well. The only suggestion that I feel is that for next time is just to use more vocal variety. But other than that, I felt that it was a wonderful speech, and thank you for the opportunity to share with us.
Thank you. Speaking of wishing, this was actually one of my wishes. I heard of an actress who, on the stage, she would get into the part and she was running with this cloak. So she would go all the way to the outside door in order to get enough wind and speed to run on the stage. And you see her cloak, her whole cloak billowing, because she had to run that far. So this is another one of my wishes come true. Thank you, Sherry, for evaluating Sharon. With that, I would like to introduce the evaluator for speech number 2, Sharon Maloney, evaluating Carol Durling.
Carol, well, needless to say, you're always so well prepared. And I think that series is excellent for you because that's where you started. Like me, we tend to talk along here, but you've progressed so far. It's wonderful. So I thought your sense of drama and your timing, I thought were excellent. I don't know that you realized when you were making them, but you were the man, and then you were the ant. And that was very good too. You could have, I think, when you said you were going to do the voices, you did a very deep voice for the man, and then you kind of didn't carry that through, so that might be my only suggestion. But from singing, I know it's very hard to go from one voice to the other, but still you kept the man about it, you kept the character very well. I thought, like I say, excellent timing in your vocal accents, and that helped to build to the climax. What I really liked about it was I've seen that done in school plays, I've seen Cary Grant version of movies several times, never cared for it. And when you did it, I saw all the humor in it. I really appreciated that. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was our penultimate evaluator. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And with that, I would like to introduce our evaluator number 3, Carol Durling, who will be evaluating Sherry Maddox's speech. You're welcome. Sherry, I really enjoy listening to you speak because you're a role model for me. And I thought this way you quiet your body and you stand professionally. I tend to fidget and move around, but you have that quietness about you that is so professional, and look at me, take command of the room and build that sense of presence. You have a very good modulated voice. It's very pleasant to listen to. And you also use vocal variety. For instance, as you were talking about the benefits of recognition, your voice raised and it reinforced the positive feelings